I'm Eric Pierce, publisher with BioCentury. BioCentury is a proud sponsor of the Galien Forum and also the pre-Galien USA Awards ceremony. I'm here this afternoon with Mikael Dolsten, Pfizer's President of Worldwide Research and Development. Michael, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me here.
Absolutely. You're a part of the Blue Ribbon panel of scientific experts helping Vice President Joe Biden with the Moonshot Initiative. Describe how some of the recent recommendations help validate the precision medicine approach.
I think it's a really promising initiative with a goal of within 5 years accomplish as much as a decade of cancer research would. And it's based on certain principles like how can we be a catalyst for the ecosystem of cancer research? How can we bring together patient information in a new way that allow patients and scientists to accelerate discoveries? How can we create an opportunity to address cancer resistance by providing information not just at diagnose but as patients progress? And how can we make sure that all these great scientific groups, whether in academia or in industry, are more open to share data together and accelerate learning? So I'm very optimistic that we would see a dramatic increase in the pace, both for cancer immunotherapy in general, for patients' benefit, and also for certain vulnerable patient group like pediatric cancers that was identified as an area where we need to have more of a focused effort.
Mm-hmm. And the immuno-oncology space has received a lot of attention of late. I know that there's also a number of areas where Pfizer is taking a leadership position. You launched a rare disease unit in 2010 with a focus on hematologic, neuromuscular, and pulmonary disorders. Can you talk about how your work in rare diseases might be applicable to a precision or a personalized medicine approach?
Yeah, thank you very much. You know, we spoke a lot today about immuno-oncology and rare disease as two areas where the scientific momentum is tremendous. And I think in immuno-oncology, Pfizer is among the leaders in combination of drugs. In rare disease, we're aspiring to be the leader how you restore, replace, correct single gene disorders. So these are patients that are born with diseases that can be either fatal or really creating lifelong difficulties. Many of these 7,000 rare diseases are genetic, not all. And we are focusing on some of these that are genetic and making partnership with the vision that by precision medicine, focusing on single genetic disorders and with a technological advance, particularly in gene therapy, to replace the missing gene and allow patients hopefully live a normal life or a dramatically improved life. And one of the examples of the promise, although it's still early days, is the partnership we have had with Spark Therapeutics, a spin-off from UPenn, where we use viral delivery of factor IX for hemophilia B patients that today with standard of care would infuse themselves. And we have a handful of patients plus that we have reported where a single infusion of synthetic factor IX by a virus delivery have allowed patients over many months to see clinically relevant level of this synthetic gene and allow them to live a pretty normal life. Now this is early days and we need more patients, longer observation before we can claim victory. But I think it's promising. We have been given breakthrough designation by FDA. At the same time, Pfizer, to solidify being a pioneer in this space, we acquired a small company, Bamboo Therapeutics, spin-off from University of North Carolina, led by a very well-known scientist, Jude Samolsky, and we are aspiring next year to make the same advance in fatal diseases such as Duchenne's muscular disease. So stay tuned with Pfizer in this space.
Absolutely. Talk a little bit about how Pfizer is implementing your advanced modeling and simulation with innovative trial designs to basically improve some of your R&D efficiency. Because one of the things that's interesting about personalized medicine is we're sort of we're reverse engineering, we're working with molecular data, but then when you put that into a patient, you're now in a real world scenario. How does Pfizer marry the two and talk about what you're doing sort of on a modeling and simulation standpoint?
Great question. You know, we're thinking in two dimensions. One is to use modeling to earlier improve successful outcomes of trials. So we are looking at adaptive design, where we can test one drug across many indications or multiple drugs in one indication at several different doses. And early modeling of data can allow us to drop less likely to succeed study arms and focus on those which seems to have the most promising outcome. And we also implement very much technologies that allow us to pick up signals early in development to do crisp decision making, whether to accelerate or stop trials. Mm-hmm. Another aspect is more the operational execution to make trials go faster. And you know, as we identify the patient population, we are increasingly exploring to use modeling of large patient databases, which could be electronic medical records or claim databases, to look at the patient availability for the inclusion criteria in our clinical trials and basically do a virtual enrollment of patients. And that allows us to adjust our protocol to be a better fit with the patients that are existing and have the needs. And we also try to understand the event rates of disease in the population to be able to size the trials optimally, and from the get-go having a more optimized trial with a high likelihood of being operational success.
So using the modeling software to essentially get to an answer as to whether you're going to have a successful outcome sooner. So you're saving, on the front end, you're saving some money, but then there's also some operational efficiencies. What you're talking about is quite interesting, because the patient enrollment question for biopharma, and you take a step back, that's a big challenge. And you touched on a few things that Pfizer is doing to make sure that they fully enroll. Are there other things from a broad perspective that the industry can do to make sure that the community, the patients who are affected with some rare diseases and also some more common diseases, are aware of the steps that companies like Pfizer are doing to basically bring patients to medicines to patients?
Well, I think there is an opportunity for the industry and academic study groups to work together and harmonize the way we do clinical trials and make sure, you know, that we use very similar tools, web portals, that allow centers to work with pharmas in a more seamless manner and avoid that pharmas and CROs have very different processes. And I think we're making some progress in that space, and it is important. It maximizes the benefit for the patients.
Great. Dr. Dolsten, thank you very much.
Thank you. A pleasure.